The culture at ECI is very team-oriented. I never feel like I have to tackle a project that I'm not completely sure about how to do by myself. The team leaders lead from the front. They give you somebody to model yourself after.
My impression of the company's leadership team is that they are present, they are responsive. Anytime I've reached out to them, I get a timely response. And anytime there's been any sort of concern, for example, late night on storm duty one time, I didn't quite have a hotel room. A few phone calls made, got me into a hotel room at 11 o'clock at night, good to go. So it's professional in that sense, and you're not left wondering, you get an answer.
It's been only a handful of experiences working with the leadership team. When I first was hired, Josh came out to meet me, to get me acclimated. We met with the utility that I'm contracting with, and that was a really great experience. It definitely made it easier to acclimate. We went out in the field. We met in the office too to go over things like that.
Detail-oriented, thorough, power of example, and compassionate too. I've had a couple of health problems, the past year, and Josh has been so great to work with through that. Just very understanding of, if we want our employees to do the best job that they can, they need to be in the best health. Bringing up like slips, trips, and falls. That's, you don't necessarily think about the way that you walk every day. But when you get an email about something like that, you're like, oh, am I being safe when I'm walking down, rocky road? I feel like with this company in particular, if I have a concern or a problem, I'm heard and I'm not just another number there. My perception of safety has drastically changed since I started working here. I used to do landscape and construction before I got into this, and some of the companies that I worked for, safety was just not a priority. It was so focused on getting the task at hand done. And with this company in particular, it's been nice to know that my supervisors and some of the higher ups really do care about your safety.
Safety is huge. Safety is our #1 goal. We work in dangerous environments, from dead trees to power lines to just slippery slopes when you're hiking up a mountain following where the power lines go. There's always something that is dangerous about what you're doing.
ECI is definitely more serious about safety. And I definitely like that I get the bingo emails, the safety reminders every day. That definitely, again, reinforces the fact that I have a team behind me.
Since I've started working here, my perception of safety has honed in. It's become focused. Why we do what we do, why you need to be highly visible out there, why you have to wear your hard hat.
The GPS that we have in our truck that monitors our speed, and the stickers that we have on the trucks, I really like, because it lets other people know that we're working.
One of the big things is that we all have company trucks and we all are driving consistently around. And one of the biggest things is being a safe driver, being conscientious about that, and watching how other people are acting. We park along the side of the road all the time, and making sure that we have our gear out, showing that this is where we're at, having our cones out, making sure that we stay safe is massive. Sometimes it's okay to take that extra time to choose a better route and hike down in a different way. Or when we're working with the tree crews directly and they're doing cuts, we have to know where our safety zones are, where the fall zone is. It's great how close we work with the other crews that are also contractors.
An expression that was said to me before was, you want to go home the same way you came in.
I try to promote safety by just being a power of example, by doing the next right, the next safe thing.
Start of my day is get to the job location. Then it is put on all my appropriate PPE, vest, hard hat, safety glasses, steel toe boots. I load up knowing I won't be back to the truck until lunchtime. And then it is task specific as to how much tools I load up into my vest. We're doing the easement, we're hanging flags at the easement, and then if a tree was within the easement, we're tagging it to be removed, and if it's not, we keep moving. And then head into the woods.
A non-routine day would look like going to see an outage tree. If there is a particular customer that has questions about work that's being done, or if they get a notification in the mail saying that work is going to be done to their property, and explaining that to that specific person. Auditing and checking work that's already been done to make sure that it was done to the specs of the utility. Also taking inventory of what work needs to be done in the future. I also, every once in a while, will go into the office and do a little bit of the GIS work, which has been really interesting to be able to do that. I didn't really have any experience with that when I came in, so that's been really fun to learn that.
In this business, you work a lot by yourself. We try and build with the homeowners that we work with, the power companies that we're contracted to, is that they can trust us. And property owners trust that we're going to do what we say.
Core duties would be to alert my utility of any pending hazards that I notice that are out of the norm. Aside from that, I would work plan each span from pole to pole. I would see, what needs to be maintained and how can we do this in a cost-effective manner to the best of my ability.
So my core duties vary from day to day. They can be anywhere from hanging easement flags and making a decision whether a tree should be pruned or removed, or it's you go and you audit the work of a crew, whether it's the floor work that they performed or the sideline. You go and make sure it got done to the client's standard. When there is a storm, you have to go and be available for the client then and be ready to do whatever is asked of you, whether it is go help a crew get going, go sweep some lines that had some damage.
A lot of times during storms, that's when the safety of the community is kind of at the height. Tracking down those outage trees and making sure that if there is still something that's hanging on a line, making sure that that gets addressed quickly and effectively so that it can, become not a risk anymore.
Someone I knew recommended this position to me. They said, you should look into this. I really recommend it. I enjoyed doing it, and they described it to me. And I thought about it for like half an hour and I'm like, yeah, yeah, I want to do this. So just the difference between the online description and hearing a person tell me what they're doing on a day-to-day basis definitely made a huge difference. When they described the job to me, they told me about how I would be out here every day checking the trees, helping to ensure that customers' power isn't interrupted. And a big part of the sell was days like this, where you hear the crickets around us, which I'm a total nature dork, so that's, that was a huge sell. And then practicing, my dendrology, my forest health. I like continuing to learn, and that was a huge draw.
I would recommend this job to a friend or really anybody, because what other job out there is there that you get to just hike around all day, looking at trees and knowing that what you're doing is keeping communities safer.
What I like about working outdoors is that every day is unique unto itself. You almost can't believe it sometimes. You crest a hill, you can see for as far as you can see. Again, that cross section that we've created with these right-of-ways, you feel very grateful and lucky to be out here and you're getting paid.
First and foremost, being able to work outdoors, that was big for me. I think my natural curiosity about the way that the world works with the environment and also with electricity. I mean, I get questions, how does that all work? How does that all work? And and I still have a very limited knowledge, but I like that there's always more to learn. And there's always new things happening in this field, whether it's technology, new species of plants are still being discovered, It's fun. It's just a really fun job. I mean, I love everything about working outdoors. I would have never survived in an office setting, having to do that 24/7. I like the freedom that comes with working outdoors and the fact that every day is different and I never know exactly what to expect out there. It's not monotonous and it's never boring.
The most interesting thing I've seen since I've had this job, it was post a high wind event. I believe the winds were going over 25 miles an hour and a big 120-foot pine tree came down in the middle of a phase. It crushed the corner structure like a tin can. And of all the storms I've responded to and all the downed trees I've seen, I've never seen a structure crushed like that. The awesome power that we're working out here with, between the potential in the trees and Mother Nature itself with high winds or snow, it is incredible what can happen.
The most interesting thing that I've seen has been some of the natural plant life around here. A few weeks ago, we got to see some Drosera rotundiflora, which is sundew. It's a carnivorous plant. And, you know, and getting to see stuff like that every once in a while, I mean, that was just, I'm a little bit of a plant nerd, but I think that stuff is very cool.
Best memory of my job was actually the first time that I got to go out and work in California. I had never been to the North Coast, like the northern coast before. And I got to drive through redwood forest, came out to the ocean side and saw the bluffs. I went up and I was like, okay, you know, we're gonna be looking at power lines. And I get up on this hillside and I'm checking out the lines and I'm looking down this line and the view behind it was just spectacular. And at that moment, I kind of was sitting there going, one, I can't believe that I have this job. I can't believe where I'm at. And two, I saw so many different types of vegetation on that one string of line that I had never gotten to see in my life before. Where you get to be, what type of stuff you get to do, hiking around all day, talking to great people, seeing properties that you would never get to see in your lifetime. For instance, the location that we're at right now is one that we would never be able to access without without this job.